For 50 million, would you get a GCB or an en-bloc site for sale?
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Property Roundtable with myself and Rama, bringing value to your journey of buying and selling, or even like being interested in the property market in Singapore. Well, Rama, it's a very interesting question. Maybe a little bit of background to my experience. I think I started my career doing, as I mentioned before, like doing en blocs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So recently, we've had clients we have interactions with, and they already went through their rounds of owning like SMED, then they moved on to a bungalow. So now they're very in the money lah. So they have X amount of budget that they are keen to invest.
Yep.
So as we all know in today's market, right? Generally speaking, what's the ticket size for GCB minimum entry?
Minimum at least 35, bro.
Yeah,
if I,
correct, right?
Yeah.
Because like a minimum size of a GCB, if you assume it's like 15,000 each, right? It will be around, say, 30 mil or slightly bigger is 35.
Truth be told, just for the audience understanding, there are GCBs. Of course, GCB has certain characteristics lah.
Yes.
Okay. So of course, one of the important characteristics is the 15,000 odd square feet minimum land size and all, right?
Correct.
So, but there are some that's lower. So we don't talk about those lah.
Yeah.
We talk about the one that made it lah.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So interestingly, this client that Rama and I spoke to, right? He had this mindset. He says that, hey, why don't we consider also opportunities like, say, an en bloc site?
He must have seen something somewhere lah.
Anyway, so for the matter, right?
Yeah.
We sort of found something that we felt in the market that is within his capability to do so lah.
Yep, that's right.
So of course he looked for GCB is quite normal lah, and there's really a short of stocks and everything.
Obviously, when you throw a number like that at Harvey, and then knowing that he's so landed, always lean towards landed. Naturally, the first thing that comes to mind is GCB lah.
Yeah, of
but
course.
Then, what comparisons do we have?
But firstly, I must share with all our audience. GCB is good class bungalow. So in Singapore, they got 39 good class bungalow areas. They are gazetted good class bungalow areas, meaning under URA master plan. If you click on it, right, there is a name for this good class bungalow area. So for example, Nasim, for example, Clooney, for example, Victoria Park, right? All these are good class bungalow areas. And inherently in these areas, they are classified as good class bungalows, and they can only build bungalows per se lah. Right? So, of course, an en bloc site, for example, then we went into the market, we went to search around lah, right? So, Rama found one, I found one, just to have an educated conversation with the client lah.
Yeah.
So Rama found something in the east side, which is the Casa Fidelio.
Yeah, Casa Fidelio, bro. Correct.
So Casa Fidelio, it's an en bloc that was launched sometime in March.
Yep.
So, and sometime in March, and the ticket size is about $24 million.
24 only.
Yeah, $24 million.
Bro, want to share what's the land size?
In today's market, $24 million doesn't sound like a lot when you're talking about a site that's about the size of 17,300 square feet, right? So it's zoned for residential use, and it is possible for two-story mixed landed housing.
Yep.
So 24 lah,
same.
right? We just put 24 lah, 24 million. So another one that we saw was in Jalan Rimau, which is a strata landed site.
Correct. Bedok,
So
right?
it's also in the east side. It's launched for collective sale with a reserve price of about $58 million. So this development comprises about 12 units of 3-story strata landed housing. This one is a bit different. This one is, the land size is about 32,000, which is pretty much the size of a relatively big, good class bungalow size lah.
30.
So if you use good class bungalow price, you multiply, let's say I just put 2,000. This one worth like, in good class bungalow territory is 60 over million.
I can already feel people watching here who the expert all hey bro, you cannot compare GCB with this land.
Confirm.
Blah, 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 blah. But the point here we're trying to make is totally different. We're just trying to see, like what he said, have an educated conversation.
Correct.
Right? So we want to see. Go on.
So now, So now, right, we try to understand the mindset. Like, why would someone choose a good class bungalow over an investment like this for a start? So, Rama, with your experience of dealing with clients of a good class bungalow and of course transacting in the good class bungalow market itself, right? Typically, why do people buy good class bungalows?
But you see, one day you come and tell me, okay, Rama, I want to buy a Rolls Royce.
Okay.
I know you can buy a Rolls Royce, bro, because you can.
Yeah, because can. Yeah, correct.
That's the reason, bro. If he wants to buy a GCB, because first thing, he can.
Yeah, first thing he can,
Okay?
of course, yes.
Yeah, that's the
Of course
first thing,
he can.
bro. The first thing,
Yes.
right? Yeah. But the other thing is, it's a sign of show of,
It's
you know,
okay
show.
lah, status lah.
Yeah. So it's
Status.
like collectibles lah. You know what I mean?
Status. Given that there are only like 2,700-ish good class bungalows in Singapore, right?
Yep.
I think there's a scarcity theory in there. Okay, that's one. Two is, of course, prestige. Right? You stay in a good class bungalow area, there's some prestige to it.
Yeah.
And thirdly, of course, from a legacy perspective, if you're a true blue landed homeowner in Singapore and you believe in the market, obviously the cream de la cream of the landed is good class bungalow lah.
Correct.
So it's quite straightforward. Like even the who's who in the market, right?
Okay, today I'm going
they
to
also buy good class
let them in on something also.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to this word networking, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, people drive the Rolls Royce. They
Yeah.
got Rolls Royce community. Then the something else that we know, Lamborghini also got community.
community. Correct.
So they all network lah.
Yes.
They don't show off.
Yes.
But they network.
Correct.
Although some do still show off lah. You know what I mean? So same thing for GCB also. Because I had a client, I didn't know until I experienced it.
Yes.
Okay. So bringing this client out to view
What's his
GCB.
profile? Businessman.
Businessman lah, bro.
Okay
Standard
lah.
lah.
Okay,
Standard. So the moment he went to see, he don't just see himself. Like, he always will bring, of course, his secretary will be there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the next thing is he will bring one friend.
The friend
Okay.
is also stay GCB.
But I cannot say other things that he bring lah, but he bring lah.
Okay.
Just to not say get opinion or anything,
Yes.
but to tell, hey, you know, I'm going to get this. So next time, we're going to host all these things here, blah, blah, blah. This is how we're going to do all the events.
Yes.
Because it's a big space
Yes.
where they can cater to host people.
Correct.
Okay. And they are private.
Okay.
So this place is super private lah.
Okay lah.
Okay.
So basically, to him, right, this good class bungalow itself, right, serves beyond the purpose of just a home.
That's right.
He feels that there is a chance for him to use this home as a stage for him to do his like
Then you know we
business
call
hosting.
the name dropping lah, bro. You know
Yeah.
what? My neighbor who or not?
Yeah.
I leave this place. You know my neighbor who or
Correct.
not?
Correct. So he wears the hat of probably sometimes even investment value is lower lah. He thinks that it's more of an expense, that he is the barriers of entry is so high, right? That it's only reserved for the very privileged.
Yep.
So now wearing a cap of a I came from collective sale background. I understand that usually collective sales sites, right, are barely bought by individuals. They are typically bought by developers. They actually buy for the purpose of like rebuilding.
Okay.
They buy with the purpose of rebuilding. They buy with the purpose of selling and making a profit in possibly a window of time, say 5 years.
Yep.
So when they evaluate collective sales sites, right, they were thinking of how to like maximize the plot. What are the things they can do to like sell out and make money from it? So, but it is still to date, right? I think it's still quite a different mindset. I would say that the boss of a developer firm, or so-called, if it's listed, then obviously they are developers as background, right?
Okay.
But they are also businessmen and homeowners as a private one. So they are saying that, okay, I can buy this, but I would rather also buy a GCB for old self-stay.
Yep.
So in that regard, right, Rama, if I were to ask you, right, do you think that if such plots that had redevelopment potential are held in the pockets of private, right, how do you think that may possibly impact the market in future? Let's say now, right, I'm staying next to like Jalan Rimau,
Okay.
or I'm staying next to like Casa Fidelio.
Okay.
Do you think an individual holding it for a long term, right, will serve will it be a boost, or would you rather hope that a developer buys it?
I mean, of course, the mode of payment or the structure, the way it is handled, that means the transaction, the way it's handled, right?
Yes.
It's unlike the normal transaction of option fee and everything. It's definitely different.
Yes.
So naturally, we are talking about someone with the capital power to go and
Yes.
buy this thing.
Yes,
and then,
yes.
But they may not necessarily be a developer.
Yeah lah.
That's what you mean,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Yeah. So now, looking at it as an
He also
investment.
can ma.
Can lah.
He also can. That means he can buy also and do nothing to it.
Correct.
He just land bank that thing and then just
Wow, bro.
hold on to it lah.
You land bank different level lah, bro. We started with buying one unit land bank. Now you whole thing and land bank.
So so what I'm saying is that as the owner around there, right? Do you think that one of the things that they're looking out for? Do you think it's better if a developer buys it to rebuild, or do you think it's better for an individual to buy and hold that plot? If you are one of the owners around there,
bro.
what do you think? If let's say you're one of the owners around there, what do you prefer?
Okay, first of all, as an owner around that area, I want to know who is the buyer lah. Definitely, that's for sure.
Okay.
If it's a developer, fine. I need to know it's a developer first.
Yeah.
If it's a single guy, I hope a private purchaser.
Individual,
I just want to know what his plans are.
Yeah.
So that I can plan for myself.
But he's a private one. He will
Yeah.
not share with you the plan.
So
mah.
right lah, exactly. I wish to know only, but
Yeah.
it's a wish.
Correct.
Okay? So, but regardless of both, right?
Yes.
Even if he land banks, okay lah, it takes a while longer.
Yeah.
But again, the developer, I need to know what he's building. But if he's going to build something that is a boutique apartment and everything, that's not going to value add to me lah. I mean,
Well, I feel that sometimes, of course, whatever that the developer does, right?
Okay.
It's definitely going to have some form of impact. I mean, personally, that's what I think.
yeah, bro, noise and sound and all this thing. That's the impact,
Yeah,
bro.
obviously the inconveniences of
Yeah.
rebuilding that's happening.
Yeah.
But of course, in a mixed zoning, right?
Yeah.
Obviously in a mixed zoning, and if you know some plots that people you go out there and look for, then people always ask, right? Hey, should I buy landed with a plot ratio, or should I buy a landed with like in a 2-story mixed zoning, 3-story mixed zoning? Which one is more valuable? Now herein lies this concept.
Yep.
When someone buys a plot, right, that is capable, that is big enough and capable to maximize the plot ratio, right, he can then build a mini development like apartment. But this guy, if he buys in a landed zone, right, all he can do is probably subdivide it and build more landed homes. So for the landed homeowner around the area, right, perhaps if someone comes in to build, like, for example, like more landed homes, right, it should bring about a new injection to price points around the area.
Absolutely, bro. That's what I would be looking forward to.
Correct.
Because you know why? As you guys would have realized by now, okay, sometimes it is still better to buy a done-up house, okay, than to buy a house that you need to work on it, as in
Yes.
rebuild, because these guys are asking crazy prices because of these transactions.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes I wonder, wow, maybe I just buy original can already, but original also asks a lot of money now. Already.
Yeah, but of course there are opportunities, and there are likely opportunities that Property Roundtable is going to bring to our viewers in a short time, of like newly built houses that are still well within their ballpark. But for just this discussion itself, right, I think why we also talk about this to our client, right, is to let him know, right, what are your options to do if you do something like this. Of course, if you're in a landed zone, for example, and you buy good class bungalow, or perhaps even just bungalows in your area, you also belong in a rare segment. Amongst the landed segment, there's also not as many bungalows.
Okay.
So moving forward, when you sell, right, you're also looking at people who are looking specifically at bungalows.
Yep.
So if you're a bungalow buyer in a good class bungalow, of course, there's scarcity plus scarcity, right? You only got 2,700 of them spread across 39 good class bungalow areas. In all shapes and form, old houses are being transacted as well. New houses are being transacted as well. So in that regard, our advice to our client is depend on what hat you're wearing.
Yep.
It works the same down to individual landed homeowners out there.
Yep.
Like, would you rather buy, say, for example, a house that has the land and that blank canvas and the opportunity for you to do more to it later, Because you can't buy the en bloc site, but for this guy, he can.
Yep.
But if you want to buy a piece of land, it's like blank canvas for you to later rebuild, right? That's also one way into the market.
Yep.
Then Rama, so in what you're saying just now, you're saying that because if it's a private buys it, you want to know what his plans are, right?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a private buyer, right?
Yeah.
I see it's a win for everyone lah. Okay, because it's a win for him also. Because
Yes.
prior to even thinking of that or we having a conversation with him,
Yes.
his intention was limited to good class bungalows.
Yes.
Okay, whereas if he decides to buy a good class bungalow,
Yes.
it's like a collectible. You just wait lah, wait for the right time for it to appreciate. One day
Correct.
it will, and yes, it definitely will. So we are indefinite on the timeline. But the good thing is he doesn't need to do much unless he wants to get it rented out. But that rental is also not going to make any sense lah.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
so it's basically capital appreciation. So not much of work for him to do.
Correct.
But whereas we
Yeah.
sell him that idea,
Yes.
why not try this?
Yes.
Like, it's a game lah. Let's play it lah. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah. So then it gives him a opportunity. Okay, at least during this period, I can try doing this in my portfolio in my lifetime. I can say I was a
Yes.
developer before with the assistance
Yes.
of Property Roundtable.
Yeah. I think Rama brought a pertinent point of this like soft aspect of when you own something luxurious like a good class bungalow, that there is this so-called rubbing shoulders with a certain type of owner. And that is something that cannot be replicated easily elsewhere because of the prestige. A Rolls Royce is a Rolls Royce, right? There's certain prestige to it. Four wheels the same, just the same steering wheel, but obviously elevates the owner who owns it. So again, for this client, right, what we try to tell him is that in any real estate deal that you consider, right, what do you prioritize? Do you prioritize investment value? Do you prioritize potential? Or do you prioritize the utility and the prestige of it? Because very simple, if I had this same budget, right, I go further out, right, I can buy a bigger land. Regardless of the house, let's not talk about the houses, let's just talk about land. He can also use the same budget or less, right, to buy a bigger plot that is not situated in a good class bungalow area. But it has the potential for him to do more. Which eventually, obviously, with the way that he's growing his net worth, right? It is not impossible for him to undertake in future to work with a licensed builder to do something together.
Yeah.
So this kind of situation and topics and conversation we have with a clientele like that, right? Actually, the theory applies the same for a lot of you viewers out there. More often than not, you're caught in so many ways. Like you want investment value, but you also want that so-called little prestige involved in like owning a landed or like certain areas you prefer. You think it's nicer. You think that the feel is nicer. You feel that there's more as a use case, utility is nice.
Yep.
But something's got to give,
Yeah.
So even for someone at this level, right, his considerations and your considerations are the same. Should he buy something that he enjoys and has certain prestige? Or should he buy something that is not as swanky but has a lot of like investment potential in it?
But the important thing is you still have to talk to us. Okay? I mean, at least someone. But of course, in this case, I would say us.
Yeah.
Because I also have another example from the past.
Yes.
Okay, where pretty similar to this.
Yes.
Okay, when we advised him, his intentions or their intentions was totally different.
Yes.
When they came to us.
Yes.
And then we proposed something like this. Why don't you consider this B instead? And then he, okay, it sounds nice. And then they considered B. They went ahead with B.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the journey.
Yes.
It bore fruit.
Yeah.
They made money.
Yes.
And now you can still go back to A with a
Yeah.
bigger capital. But guess what? They said, hey, can we do this again? So now you see, you shocked already.
Yeah. I think Singaporeans' expectation or
Yeah.
even buyers of Singapore market's expectation is very high. They always expect that whatever money they're putting in, right, that it's supposed to grow safely but also grow strongly. I think that it is not likely that there'll be someone that will really buy something and say that, actually I don't need it to grow that value. I have clients like that. But of course, they come from certain background whereby their main source of like wealth growth, right, isn't from real estate. They grown their wealth through maybe the jobs that they do, the business that they own, or the stock options that they were granted. So they compensated, they got compensated, and their wealth got grew because of the time they spent and in the space that they are most comfortable with. And real estate to them is a secondary need. Which is more for the maybe for the family to use.
Yep.
So I think when clients like that come into the picture, right, our advice for them is always more towards like utility, like maybe is it close to where you need to be around? Do you consider this specific factor? Do you are just wowed by the house, but you missed out certain points? So again, at the table, right, sharing this example is not to say that, oh wow, yeah lah, this guy got money lah, show off. No, we're just trying to tell you that even people of a certain wallet size, right, they have the same concerns. They always have their own concerns that are very similar and mirrors your concern as well.
Yep.
Can invest or not? Can own or not? Is it good to stay here or not? So again, at the table, right, what we're trying to do is give solutions to
Yes.
problems. And I would say when you're at the crossroads, right, what exactly are you going to do next? And I feel in recent times or in the last 1 year, a lot of the clients that speak to us always hives one part of the business. They say, hey,
Always
property hive. That means they say, hey, property roundtable. I'm going to look for you to look for landed. I'm going to look for you to sell landed. But it's all encompassing. I think strategy starts from day one. I think how you move from your current property to the next one, there's a lot of intricacies to it that needs to be planned right from the get-go. So we've also spoken to clients that have a longer runway that are speaking to us with something that they already plan to do, albeit not in the near term. But all I can say is there are people in the market that have yet to take action in terms of buying. There are also sellers that are in the market that are planning to launch their houses out in the market for sale. So if you continue to watch Property Roundtable, you will realize that we have a pretty good feel of the ground vibe that's going on in the market. So therefore, some of the episodes or some of the info that we share with you actually truly comes from the vibes and the feedback we get from the ground.
Yep. As a matter of fact, the week after this, the topic is about something to do with what you just said.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched some of the episodes that we have covered before, it's okay. I think it's way faster to engage us with your real day-to-day issues. But more importantly is we've been doing this for the last 2 years. I'm sure we've had certain accolades with some of our clients in terms of what we have delivered for them already. And we are here to share with you some of those examples as well. So if you like what you watched so far, continue to support the channel, share with your friends, like and subscribe. And if you want to find us, feel free to fill in the WhatsApp form or contact Rama and myself individually just to schedule something so that we can have a chat.
Don't hesitate.
Yeah, don't hesitate.
Yep.
So thank you and see you in our next episode.